In today's Music Theory Mastery interview with Jenny, I'll say, hey Jenny, we're talking about writing for TV, film, and also keeping music simple, keeping the lyrics simple as best we can. How do you use your newfound music theory mastery skills? How do you use that to write music that you love? Well, we're about to share some of those insights into how we created some of the songs and songs inspired by the film Out of Time that Jenny and I scored. It's all coming up. Hey, Positively Presto people, great to see you. This is the next installment in our Music Theory Mastery interviews. I would like to introduce my awesome friend, Jenny Williams.
Hello.
Jenny and I have been friends for a long time, 10 years plus now, there or thereabouts.
Long time, yeah.
We've worked together on all kinds of projects, including film work, scoring work, all kinds of previous releases from Jenny too. And today we're talking about the songwriting process, the composition process, how we use music theory to help create those tunes here at Presto Music Production Studios. And basically that's it really, isn't it? We're just going to talk about the process as a whole.
Yeah.
Which should be good, so we should get some good insights here into what we get up to. So in your experience in writing, Jenny, both on your own and collaborating, what would you say is the hardest part?
Oh, you ask hard questions. The hardest part, I'd probably say that I'm a massive perfectionist. So to me, if I'm recording something myself or making something myself, it has to be perfect. And the hardest part for me is to letting go of that, because if I try and create something perfect, I will be there a long time trying to make it right. So for me, I think the hardest bit is when to tell yourself it's good now, leave it alone, because sometimes you can tinker with something so much that you end up not necessarily losing passion in the actual song you're writing, and you end up starting disliking it, or you kind of you get run away with the idea and the premise that you started with. You just lose that the passion and the love for it, that it becomes something that you then you play back and you're not happy with. And the reason you're not happy with it is probably because you've farted about with it so much, trying to fix certain bits or make bits sound like this, and within reason it's great, but that sometimes you just need to learn to know when to let it go.
Definitely. I would. So first of all, you know that I suffer from the exact same thing, and you and I in the past have worked on stuff whereby we're constantly polishing it to the point where sometimes you think if you actually go back a few mixes previous and you think I actually prefer this yesterday's version, for argument's sake. But in particular, the fact that I think it's good for musicians of all level, all stages, to know that it's okay to leave something at the point where they think, this is the best version at this point, if that makes sense. I think you and I were saying before, when I was at uni, I went through the whole academic side of how to record, the writing process and that kind of stuff. But nobody actually said, you don't need to know how it's going to sound before you start. You don't need to know what the finished production is going to be like. You don't need to know what the finished lyrics and melody and everything is. In the same way that I guess a painter will paint and they will be constantly moving the paint around the canvas until they're happy with it.
I think that as well, I'm a big believer on when you've been working on something for so long, you become almost deaf to what you're actually trying to achieve. So a lot of the time, sometimes I feel it's better just to close down the computer and walk away. Have an evening, living your life, doing something completely different, and come back with fresh ears the next day. And for instance, particularly when I was saying to you earlier, then when say for instance you're tuning certain parts of vocal, you can listen to that.
Tuning? You don't need tuning.
We all do. When you're listening to that particular phrase round and round and round and round and round and round and round, you stop hearing what you're trying to, the finished product, and you get so lost in it. I think it's a bit like when you're writing something and you look at a word for too long, and you've looked at it for that length of time that the word doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, what have we got written down somewhere here? New single, for instance, yeah. So if I look at the word single, if I really look at it and analyse it too much, it just doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. And I think a really sort of important takeaway for us, but also for all our students, is that this is going to happen, that surely 99% of musicians and songwriters and arrangers and composers are going to suffer and struggle with the same thing. All artists, suffer and struggle with the creative side all the time. And what is it? You're trying to find the point at which you're happiest with it, to then give it out to the point whereby you are happy for others to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you and I certainly have worked on in the past, and it's normal.
I'm not sure I can be described as normal a great deal of the time.
No. But I've always enjoyed the collaboration. I've always enjoyed the writing process. So we've talked about the hardest part there, actually sort of finish it. Which bit do you enjoy the most?
Of what?
I guess of the whole sort of writing process, right from the very, very beginning, right through to the whatever you would deem the finishing line. Which is your favourite part of writing?
So I'm a massive believer in when I write something, and I mean life really. Everything's about emotion. Mm-hmm. Everything about it. So when you're writing something, you're either writing from your heart, your soul, how you're particularly feeling at that time, or you're writing about a subject. For instance, when we've done the film work together, we have to write about what the film's about. But to me, I think the most enjoyment I get is when I finally finished the song, and I've said, right, this is it, final mix, final mix times 5, final mix times 6. To me, it's when I've walked away from it and gone, right, this is for other people now. The most enjoyment I get is when I think to myself, have I done too much with it? Have I gone too far? Okay, it's done. Right, done. It's done. Yep. It's, to me, the enjoyment I get is when I let my friends and family listen to it, and they remind me then of particularly this new single coming out, like. When they listen to it, I know they're going to say, like, how beautiful it is. And to me, that then refreshes my belief that actually what we were creating and what we have created is something beautiful.
Seamless link and plug there. Oh. Yes, new single. Click the link and we'll put the link in there to Jenny's new single, which I look forward to sharing with you. I think that's very interesting from the perspective of when you talk about letting it out into the world. I remember Ed Sheeran talking about the fact that the minute that he released the song, it was then no longer his, and his favourite time working on a song was before it was released, because the second it was released, it's out there, then it's no longer his. Yes. I think he actually enjoyed.
What's your favourite part then of writing?
I like the whole. I just like being creative. I am somebody who likes just chucking out ideas. My favourite part, I guess, is seeing the whole thing turn into colour, really. Everything's sort of black and white at first, and then the minute that you start to sort of get the harmonies in there and hear how the melody will fit over the top of it, how the two will link together, how the two become one, that kind of thing. Yep. That sounds like a Spice Girls track. It does, doesn't it? Quick, write that down. Two become one. But that's a good example, so I like coming up with little lyrical ideas, or just taking ideas that you hear in the news or anything like that. But again, as you know, I like working on neat lyrical ideas and exploring that, but then I quite often get stuck, as everybody will, and then like the collaboration, because I think especially in Find Home,
The new single.
Especially in that, where, for example, there are rough ideas that I've kicked around in the first place, and then you've shone a different light on it, and instantly the lyrics just make so much more sense and far more powerful as a result, because you've seen it from a different angle. So I'll write something.
I've probably seen it from more of a vocal standpoint than necessarily a musical standpoint. So a lot of things that maybe you would throw out lyrically to me, I would then either phrase differently, as in necessarily the same line but have the emphasis in different places, or slightly reword it so that the actual phrase works better with the melody.
And that's interesting, because we talk about that in the songwriting course that we do for our Presto students. And in songwriting, we talk about the placement of lyrics. And even, this is brilliant, because I love the transparency. I love the fact that even when I know that lyrics will be better sung, they will mean more if you change the placement of that word within the line. You know, where is the emphasis, where is the beat emphasis, where's the strong emphasis from a rhythmic perspective, and therefore you emphasize the lyric more. And even then, once I've gone through that process, then, you know, you work with somebody awesome like Jenny. You gotta check out her stuff, man. It's just it's awesome. Yeah, it's beautifully produced, of course, but
of course.
But even when I've done that and gone through that process, then it's always great to get a singer in to collaborate with, who will then move those around, because it will
that's
mean,
very nicely put. You mean rip it apart?
Rip it apart. Shred it. No, but you and I have never been precious about stuff, and I think we always work very well in that regard. Let's move on, because I noticed we just made some notes before, didn't we? And we were talking earlier on about the inspiration side, and the fact that you got your inspiration from the genuine feelings. So you tend to write from feelings
I'm
first.
all about emotion, always. So even when I'm writing, when I'm performing, to me, obviously, it sounds really cliche, but a song is just an expression of emotion.
Yeah.
So to me, that's it. That's where you start for me. It's everything's to do with the emotions. Even simple words like we have in Find Home, we've got name a lyric.
I like the way that you kicked that bit about where. So we should explain, actually. So Find Home was inspired from a film that we worked on together, written by the wonderful Kerry Williams. No relation. Just checking.
No. She's awesome though.
Yeah, she's incredible. Hey Kerry, and produced by Kerry and the astonishingly talented Michelle Billington. And do check out that. It's on Amazon Prime. That is called Out of Time. And Jenny and I worked on the sort of title track for that. But this song was inspired from the film. Interestingly, we always thought we'd do more with it, but our favourite version was the simplest version. Yeah. Which is quite profound, really. Yeah. We've probably kicked this around.
Like we said at the very beginning, though, you know, you can go too far. And we just kind of went, no, let's keep this simple. Let's keep it real. Yeah. You know, let's not flood the orchestration. Let's not, you know, keep it just really condensed. Yeah.
And I think it allows the emotion of the performance to come through more, and it allows the emotion of the lyrics to come out, and therefore the true meaning behind it. I think...
because every time I record something, if I'm given a set of lyrics, those lyrics, I will pick apart every single word, and my brain constantly asks the question, why have I said that? Mm-hmm. Why am I singing it like this? What is the emotion behind that? And that's then what creates something that's beautiful. Yep. It's not necessarily just standing and singing some lyrics that we've written down. It's how you approach the performance in the voice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also, you know, everybody takes music in differently. So some people might listen to the track and think, this isn't for me. And I think that's one of the beauties, the fact that we are happy to put something out that is absolutely what we intended to do. This is how we wanted it to go. Mm-hmm. And when people say, yeah, but they seem very passionate about something that the listener doesn't like, for example, or absolutely thinks is the best thing that they've ever heard, or anything in between, and everybody's right, because if somebody thinks, well, I've listened to like their new single and don't like it, it's not for me, or the complete opposite of that. But I guess the point is that we got to the point where it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter what other people think, but that's what we were trying to say at the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the worries that I used to have before, whereas you think, when do I finish writing? When do I finish producing? When do I finish tweaking the bass line? All that kind of stuff. Yeah. When it gets to the point where you think that's somewhere near, that's where I think the finished version was going to be. What is it we say? Done is better than perfect.
Yeah. I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Yeah. When we have very first started the writing process, mm-hmm. we hash out some lyrics, we hash out the odd bit of melodies.
Yep.
Do you have a go-to set of chord progressions that you would go to? Or I don't know, like the intervals between certain notes. I mean, obviously, to create certain feelings, you will have to. Is there like, have you got like a go-to? Or key signature that you'd go to?
Yes and no. Big question. Yes and no. Okay, so this is brilliant from the music theory mastery point of view. Yeah. Okay, so. It's interesting you ask this, because this gets asked a lot in class as well, both in the course, in the online courses, and it gets asked at Presto Music School as well. Mm-hmm. And the answer is quite simple, really. You can't write something. You couldn't paint an accurate picture of a specific house if you have no idea what that house looks like. If nobody's ever described it to you, if you've never seen it, how are you going to paint the picture of a specific house if nobody's explained it to you, nobody's described it to you, and all that kind of stuff? Mm. This sounds like a long answer, doesn't it? It sounds very Jonesy, this. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And so when you very first start, what tends to happen is you'll start with an idea, and then what's coming to mind is all the influences, all the chords, all the melody ideas that are unique to every writer, composer, musician, because we've all heard our own unique sorry, my brain's just started going into the lyrics, because that's obviously in the lyrics. Our background, our inspiration, our musical inspiration is a unique mix of anything and everything we've ever heard. So, for example, I have heard the verse of a particular song a specific number of times, which is obviously in there, and then I've heard the chorus to that particular song and another song and another song. So my permutation, my individual mix of songs that are in there, and music and production and films I've watched, is unique. And so is everybody else's. So your brain will latch onto little melodic hooks, chord ideas, musical emotions, textures, arrangements, which start to form mentally around the ideas that you and I are kicking around. Mm-hmm. So it isn't a go-to.
Obviously, it would depend on the emotion of the song as well. So there's me harping on about emotion again. But I meant, obviously, it's a happy song. It would be in a major key signature. So...
Yes, but it's interesting how you can flavour a song. I was actually laughing with one of the classes this week. We were talking about composition. We were saying, is there a sadder chord than a minor chord? And I was saying, yes, major chord. And they were saying, what? That doesn't make sense.
Used in the right context.
Yeah, using the right context. So, for example. It was in last week's composition class. We'll just do this very quickly. But if I play a sad chord, and now all of a sudden we're talking about something being very sad, it's too, on the nose. But then if you, right at the end of the song, and you say, and then all the little puppies died. And it's just got this little. If I'd have done kittens, if I'd have said kittens, then you'd go mad cat lady.
I am, yeah. I do like that.
But there. you know, that brightening and that sweetness really sort of like, you know, hits home, pulls on the heartstrings, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, you know, major for happy, minor for sad, but how those chords interact as well. Something we discussed in music theory, mastering the compositions.
And sometimes when you get, like you're saying, a happy chord, when I say happy chord, in a sad lyric or a sad line, it completely changes the inflection of the entire lyrical phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me an example.
Oh, I don't know.
No, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That there'll always be.
It almost like, for instance, you could be talking about all doom and gloom and it's sad, 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 sad.
Yeah.
But if you add a slightly more happier chord towards the end of that, it creates hope.
That juxtaposition.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That mix of happy, sad, dark, light. Yeah, the contrast and comparison within the music against the lyrics often works really well. We were talking about that. Find Home used to be called Unique because Out of Time is about, without giving anything away, Out of Time, available on Amazon Prime, is a really sort of gritty northern drama comedy. It's powerful stuff about a young person. You got to watch it. It's really neat writing.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's lovely, and the idea for Find Home started about the fact that we are all unique. But then we are also all made the same. We are all unique. It was that idea.
Juxtaposition of it, yeah.
It was that idea that we are both polar opposites of the thing that we're trying to say that we are. God, that sounds complicated. Oh my God, the song's miles easier than that. We're basically saying that we are all born the same, but we are all unique, exactly as the lyrics say.
Yeah.
And it's the film is a lovely portrayal about somebody battling with their identity and how that fits in the family and how the family's torn apart for a variety of different reasons. And the Find Home isn't actually in the film, it was just inspired by it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not actually on the soundtrack, but you do check out the sound. This is a shameless plug. Do check out the soundtrack to Out of Time on iTunes and all the rest of it. But no, so just to finish up on your question with regards to key signatures, I only tend to, I might write something in a given key, and yes, certain keys do have a certain draw to them, but then the main thing is fitting around the singer. So mind you, your range is ridiculous. So you were singing in any key.
I think when we were writing this, I think we changed key a good few times.
I like pitching the key in a way where you are comfiest, but also obviously that goes without saying. But in particular, how the timbre, how the tone of your voice hits certain lines. Because you could sing it, you'd be able to sing it in all kinds of keys. You'd be able to sing it in every all of the keys, but trying to find the point at which a certain lyric line is delivered in a certain part of your range. That's where we would find the key, and not just about range, but tonal.
It's tone. Yeah.
Tonal quality, definitely. So that was a good question.
Thanks.
So when we next work together, we're going to carry on with our EP. Put more of these tracks together. Because there's all kinds of beautiful covers that we've put in there as well, which I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody.
Nice.
So if you would like to check out Jenny's new single, if you've got any questions, stick them down in the comments, and we'll no doubt get back to you on those. We'll look forward to answering any questions. And so we'll paste the link to Find Home below. And also, if you want to join us for Music Theory Mastery, the online course teaching you how to get up to grade 5 and beyond. In fact, we guarantee you'll pass grade 5 first time. How do we guarantee you'll pass grade 5 theory first time? Check out the link in the comments, learn all about it. Thanks so much, Jenny.
It's all right. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Lovely to see you. And we shall catch up in the studio next time and share more news in the future. Take care. Thanks, everyone.